Dead Man's Hand is a tabletop skirmish game set in the Wild West, using miniatures, dice and cards. Players control their gangs to act out scenes inspired by Western movies. Cards are dealt to models on the table, and players take it in turns to activate their models based upon which card they have, highest to lowest. The dice are then used to determine the results of actions declared by the players. Each model on a team can declare 3 actions for its turn, and actions include moving, aiming, shooting, entering close combat, and recovering. A game will generally be played until one gang achieves the scene objectives and wins. It is also possible to win the game by causing so much damage to the opposing team that they lose their nerve and run off. So let's meet our first gang, the Lawmen. The Lawmen are led by the sheriff. Provided he is alive on the board and can be seen, he provides a boost to the morale of the rest of the team. There is also a marshal who is an excellent shot, and 5 deputies. All models are armed with pistols, apart from 1 deputy holding a shotgun and 1 deputy holding a rifle. And the Lawmen have a special rule which allows them to recover from damage. They will be facing off against the Desparados. The Desperados are led by a boss who is good in hand-to-hand combat. There is a killer who is an excellent shot, and 5 bandits. Just like the Lawmen, all models are armed with pistols, apart from 1 man with a shotgun and 1 man with a rifle. Our scene begins with 2 Desperados hoping to ambush a lone lawman. However, there are 2 more lawmen who can come to his aid from a nearby building. Cards are dealt face down to the models on the board. Each player also has 2 cards in their hand. Cards are then flipped over to reveal the order of play, with the ambushed lawman going last. Hey gringo! The Desperados go first, and luckily for the lawman, he survives the opening salvo. A second lawman comes running to his aid, and also a third. These lawmen used 3 move actions, which means they cannot shoot this turn. The second Desperado hits his target but runs out of ammo. The wounded lawman then moves behind his buddies and tries to return fire but misses. In the next round, cards are dealt and revealed. A lawman moves first and shoots at the Desperado, and the Desperado player plays a card from their hand to make sure his model won't die. The Desperado then returns fire and hits the lawman once. A second lawman moves up to finish the job, hits his target but runs out of ammo. The third lawman also shoots at the Desperado, trying to take him out and win the scene, but fails to do so. And the second Desperado reloads his pistol and shoots a lawman, inflicting heavy damage. Next turn, cards are dealt and revealed. The lawmen play a card from their hand which prevents the enemy from recovering damage, and the Desperados play a card to help their morale. Desperados go first and finally take out a lawman. Both players now only need to take out a single opponent to win. The second Desperado runs off to join his compatriot. The lawmen give chase, firing shots, but are unable to hit him. Next round, cards are dealt and revealed. The Desperados' morale card is still in play. The lawmen go first. They move a man up and shoot a Desperado once. They then play a card from their hand, adding one more point of damage to the wounded model, which takes him out of action and wins the game. So the lawmen win the first scene. They take their wounded compatriot back to the sheriff's office and report what has happened. In the second scene, the Desperados have decided to commit a daring bank robbery.
Marcia!
Sergeant Smithers escapes with a bag of loot out the front. Spotted Crow also breaks left and runs for freedom. Miguel hauls his loot up on the roof of a nearby building as the lawmen close in and start to surround the bank. The remaining Desperados are still holed up in the bank, grabbing their loot. The Desperados will win if they can get 4 loot tokens off the board at either end of the high street. Otherwise, the game will end once one gang has lost 3 models. Cards are dealt and revealed, whilst each player has 5 more cards in their hand. Miguel goes first. He takes aim with his rifle and tries to clear the way of lawmen. The lawmen play a card from their hand to reduce his aiming bonus, but the Desperados can cancel this by playing their own card. Miguel hits his target. The lawmen go next. A deputy takes out Sergeant Smithers with a lucky close-range pistol shot. Jose then runs out of the bank with his loot and inflicts more damage on the wounded lawman. Captain Burns joins Jose, again carrying loot, and finishes the job. The vicious killer, the Kentucky Kid, then steps up and wounds another lawman. Shotgun Patrick then comes running out of the bank clutching his bag of loot, while the lawmen's Marshal Duncan gives chase and wings the Indian. This forces a nerve check on the Indian, so the Desperados play a card to help him pass. But the lawmen play their own cards, which causes the test to fail automatically. Spotted Crow then has to use his own turn recovering and cannot run very far. The deputy with a rifle tries to take down a Desperado, but is out of ammo. Sheriff Lobo intervenes, but fails to take down a Desperado, while the remaining deputies give chase at the rear of the bank. Turn 2, cards are dealt and revealed. Both players have lost a single model and all loot is still on the table. The lawmen move first and the wounded rifleman runs out of sight behind the nearby building. However, he is chased and gunned down by Captain Burns. Sheriff Lobo tries to take out the Kentucky Kid but can only wing him. Another deputy makes 3 move actions to chase the fleeing Desperados, while another deputy takes aim and wings Shotgun Patrick. Spotted Crow heads for the hills carrying his loot. Shotgun Patrick moves forward and empties both barrels right at Sheriff Lobo. The lawmen play a card from their hand to ensure the sheriff survives. Marshal Duncan moves up and tries to take out the Kentucky Kid but can only wound him. The deputy with a shotgun moves up to finish the job but is out of ammo. The remaining Desperados recover from their injuries and next turn sees the demise of a third lawman, winning the game for the Desperados. With the lawmen in retreat, the Desperados take control of the bank. The final scene will be a straight up showdown between both gangs for control of the town. The lawmen gather by the marshal's office with one rifleman covering them on the roof. Meanwhile, the Desperados gather at the rear of the bank. The lawmen move first. Marshal Duncan and a deputy sprint across the street to take cover behind a wagon. The keen-eyed rifleman spots Miguel in the window opposite. And the rest of the lawmen press home the advantage and head towards the bank. The lawmen come under fire from Desperados in the windows, with the bandits using the cover of the bank to their advantage. The Kentucky Kid and Sergeant Smithers race up the street to assist. A firefight breaks out in the street. The lawmen take some flesh wounds, but they hold position. In the next round, the marshal takes aim and shoots down Miguel with a single shot. Shotgun Patrick, in a bold move, tries to take out the sheriff with a shotgun blast. A quick shot from a deputy wounds Patrick, and his shot misses the sheriff. The lawmen are quick to retaliate against the would-be assassin, and Shotgun Patrick hits the dust. The Desperados press their attack on the lawmen but can't take any of them down. The rifleman sees the dreaded Kentucky Kid approaching and draws a bead. And with a single shot, the Kentucky Kid is out of action. A close-range shotgun blast puts Spotted Crow down for good. Turn 3 sees both players attempt to use cards from their hand, both players being cancelled. The shotgun deputy comes under heavy fire from the bank but stays standing. More deputies advance on the bank. But despite a hail of fire, they cannot take out the Desperado boss. Marshal Duncan steps up to finish the job, so the Desperados play a card, causing him to stumble, ending his go. At the end of turn 3, things are looking bad for the Desperados. They have now lost 4 men. They must pass a big nerve test or lose the game. They roll the dice and pass. Turn 4 sees both players using up more cards from their hand. The Desperado boss retreats into the bank. He is still pursued by lawmen, but they cannot take him down. The remaining Desperados keep shooting, but they are still unable to take down a single lawman. And the lawmen are likewise unable to take out any more Desperados this turn. The Desperados pass their big nerve check yet again and are still in the fight. In turn 5, the lawmen play their joker. Once cards have been placed, the lawmen can swap any 3 of theirs for 3 of the Desperados, and this ensures the Desperados will act last. The Desperado boss is finally taken out by the dogged deputies. Sergeant Smithers is also gunned down in a hail of lead. And Sheriff Lobo steps forwards to arrest Jose. But the Mexican won't come quietly, and he bloodies the sheriff in the struggle. The lawmen then play their final card, and a vengeful bank teller takes aim at Jose. The deputies join in, and the last Desperado is taken down. So the lawmen win the final scene. They have taken back the town, taken out all the Desperados without losing a single man.